What is up? Welcome to episode number 266 of On the Corner, the official PitcherList.com podcast. I'm your host, Alex Fast, joined, as always, by the lovely singer himself, Nick Pollack. Nick, how you doing?
What is happening? Why am I singer fast?
Well, before we recorded, we sang that song from at the end of Beetlejuice, and you came in, you had a little scat solo.
Of course,
I
mean, you were leading it.
I don't deny these charges, but
He's way better than
this
I am.
dramatic lighting on me right now reminds me either of Vincent Price or Beetlejuice. And if you're hearing us say that, where can you watch this video? Well, we're going to record these. We're going to put them on YouTube. So if you want to watch these podcasts on our YouTube channel, where could they find that?
YouTube.com/PitcherList. Also put it up as a post on the site too, so you can check it out there. Just be like the embed of the embed is what I wanted to call it. Is that right? I don't know. It's
that's fine.
Sure.
You mean as opposed to embed?
Yeah.
They can also that's not the only place they can find digital talking, moving representations of you. They can also do that on Twitch.
On Twitch, they can. Also on TikTok as well. Nick Pollack PL. Instagram. That's at PitcherList.
At PitcherList.
You have a TikTok as well.
I've got a TikTok, got an Instagram at AlexFastPL for both of them, and the Twitch is twitch.tv/PitcherList. You're live all the time.
Yeah.
You got your office hours. You're answering questions. What am I going to do with the All-Star break? How can I fix my team? How can I make a push? Who should I sell? Who should I buy? All these questions and more.
You got to come out.
Can answer.
We're unavoidable fast. You and me. And actually, you are now more unavoidable than you were before. And why is that fast?
Well, as some may have noticed, last week we had someone cover for me. I had to have two people cover for the First Pitch podcast.
Jordan White did a fantastic job.
Fantastic job. Scott Chu did a great job doing the First Pitch podcast, which you should be listening to every day because we do it every day. The team that I am a part of has been very busy. And all I'm going to say is I think people should go to their phones, iOS and Android, look for MLB AR as an augmented reality, and check out this app that just came out that you can download now. You're going to be able to watch the MLB Home Run Derby in AR with all these cool ball trails. It happens in real time. It looks sick. It's like an awesome representation of Coors that shows up on your phone. You can put it on a table, and you see these ball trails with all this awesome StatCast information. Anyway, you should go check it out, MLB AR in iOS and Android. It's super cool.
That's awesome, man.
But thank you. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about
still.
a lot of cool things. The list, I mean, things have been bananas. They've been crazy. We've been seeing some cool debuts. I wish we could be talking about Kyle Muller, but he is back down in AAA.
That is. Yeah, well, I mean, for him, it's 2.5 weeks away. So, like, he's down in AAA because the Braves realize that they can go four-man until the All-Star break, and then they'll go 4 starters until Muller again after that, likely.
Which is, I mean, I understand they can go four-man, but, like, he was doing pretty well.
I mean, it was 3 earned runs against the Marlins, but still, I really like the guy who went to Driveline. He's got 2 great breaking balls, a really nice fastball. Thing is, he also comes back and then would likely get the Padres, which I don't want to do. But then after that, Kyle Muller, I'm a fan. So if you want to hold for like 3 weeks, by all means, but I probably won't.
And you might be asking, well, Nick, where would he theoretically be if he was on the list right now? Well, if you read the notes and follow the big, large red font that says you should read the notes, you would see that he would be in the top 70. Those notes are chock-a-block full with information about all of your favorite pitchers. At this point, between the podcast, between the office hours, between the notes, all of the thoughts are there.
Yeah, a lot of, and I still get lots of questions because I sadly can't go over all 100 guys on the list. So
why?
If you have any questions, you can just ask in the morning.
That's fine.
Come by 9 a.m., 11 a.m. on Twitch, twitch.tv/PitcherList. You should just come hang out. It's great. It's free.
It's free.
It's free.
It's free real estate. You should.
I'm glad you did. I've been like saying that often whenever it's like a stream. I'm like, oh yeah, Patrick Sandoval, the Panda.
Yeah,
as I call him. Yeah, that's free real estate.
That's free real estate. And really, any Tim and Eric quote is something I'm going to be obsessed with. I mean, I have so many. My PS username, whatever, is spaghetti. They're just my favorite.
Oh, wait, that's a Tim and Eric. I didn't realize that came. Yeah. I didn't realize that came from Tim and Eric.
100%.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Yes, they shaped my comedy perspective and my
surprise.
sensibilities. No surprises there. Also, no surprises if we're going to look at the very top of this list as we jump into Tier 1.
Yes.
And what is Tier 1 called, and why is it called that?
He is King Arthur because he's the only one that's able to do the one thing, that is be dope.
Very nice. And I mean,
it's okay.
Like, listen, there's really, I wrote in the notes, number 1, DeGrom, who cares?
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
At this point, like, it is amazing that he's not even getting touched by the spin rate issues. Nope. Yes, he ended up giving up 3 earned runs, but then didn't he strike out 14?
Yeah, for the 3rd time, I think.
Yeah,
something like that. I'm amazed that he hasn't thrown a no-hitter yet.
Yeah, because he's really overrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is core.
I just don't understand. And what's actually really cool, I mean, I'm not going to go long on this at all, like this podcast, which we will go long on.
You hit it in under.
I know, just got to get it out of the way.
No, that might be a record, to be honest.
Is the fact that he just does the same thing. Like, it's just down and away sliders and four-seamers all the time.
Yeah.
And even to lefties, he goes inside with four-seamers and then farther inside with those sliders. Cutters, sliders, things, you know. They're like 94 and stupid.
That's what's crazy, too, is like, I remember I was talking with someone who was watching DeGrom in the first inning where it looked like he was struggling a little bit, and then he just came out and he's like, you know what, I can throw like 101 miles an hour. I'm just going to do that.
By the way, I found out when I'm old, I know what my biography is going to be called.
What's it called?
94 and Stupid.
94 and Stupid? You think you're going to make it all the way up there to 94?
Absolutely. With modern medical advancements, by the time I'm banking on it.
I think you're missing a great opportunity.
Why?
Where it should be released when you're in your like 70s. Because you're dumb, so you don't know your age. So 94 and stupid. You're really.
Look at this guy. This is why, you know.
Yeah.
This is why we work.
This is how Pitcher List was made. All right, let's move into Tier 2. What is it called? Why is it called that? We got 5 pitchers in there. Some surprises, some not. Yu Darvish, Max Scherzer, Zach Wheeler, Brandon Woodruff, and Lance Lynn.
Oh, no. Okay. I want to do something that is, they are the Diamonds because they're no longer Cole.
Oh, that genuinely got me.
All right, so yeah, no more Gerrit Cole because you've now I've opened up the tiers. Tier 2 last week was one longer tier.
Many tiers have been opened up as a result of Gerrit Cole, but sorry, go on.
I would just walk right into that. That was oh my god! All right,
we're back, baby. All I needed was 1 week off.
It's good to see you.
Rare form.
But yeah, so this is a very small one. Instead of going from Yu Darvish all the way down to Corbin Burns, now it's just these 5 guys because they are burgers and fries. No, they are guys I'm going to trust through the rest of the year. I know Woodruff is the one outlier in this.
Okay.
But he has consistently gone deep into games. You feel like he's such a rock for your team. And you just don't really know how the Brewers are actually going to use him. They've said, yes, 100 innings. It's going to be around 170, 180 for Woodruff, which would mean essentially 1 or 2 starts. That's about it. And maybe they just skip once in July or August or something like that. Maybe they even just push him because they're going to be in playoff contention. I don't know.
That's the thing that I was actually going to bring up where it's like now we're really going to start to get to the, we're going to start to see if these managers are actually going to keep their promises about what they're going to do. Because right now, the Brewers, they were in like 3rd place in the division, I believe. Then the Cubs went on that losing streak. And now they're up by 6 games.
Unreal.
Which is up. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy.
You can make an argument then if they are still at 6 games with a week left, they're not going to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can rest them. But then again, there's that volatility, right? Cubs were in first, 2 weeks ago? And now all of a sudden it drops off.
Yep.
It's the Central. You never know what's going to happen there. But so talk to me then about the decision about putting Lynn behind Woodruff for that volatility.
I think people don't really understand how good Lance Lynn has been.
For a while now.
Yeah, and there is a little bit of concern. He has fallen a slight bit recently, and maybe has to do with the touch with the spin stuff. But honestly, he's been 2.02 ERA, 102 WHIP for Lance Lynn as he consistently forces his way into the 6th inning. It's kind of crazy. He's on a winning ball club too with the White Sox. Like if you want to talk about rocks here, you have Max Scherzer. You have Zach Wheeler, Yu Darvish. Like these guys are consistently going deep, getting wins, being successful. Like Lance Lynn's got to be there. Yeah,
it was a little funky dunky to see him, with that what happened in Seattle.
Funky dunky.
Yeah, funky dunky.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I think was that the one that was rain shortened?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was against Logan Gilbert.
Yeah.
So like he was great, and he just didn't get the full start because
of weather.
Yeah, natural causes and stuff.
It is just so fun to see him then bounce back with 117 pitches.
I know.
Right? You know what I mean?
I know. Like he will demand that he goes 6 innings. He will do everything in his power. But like, no, I'm not even close to 100, buddy. Don't you dare take me out.
Yeah, we've kind of all seen those, those John Boy videos where he's swearing up a storm on the mound. He's very intense.
Oh yeah.
Before we move on to the next tier, though, I think I'd be remiss if I brought up the fact that this once again, man, this has to be the highest Zach Wheeler's ever been.
Oh yeah, he's at 4.
At 4.
I know. That's cool, isn't it?
That's wild. So, obviously for good reason. Last 2 starts, 14 innings total against San Diego and the Mets with no earned runs and a combined 17 strikeouts with just 2 walks.
Yeah, he has a 31% strikeout rate right now. He has 114 innings thrown. We're at like the halfway mark. He's going to throw over 200 innings.
Yeah. Barring injury, you have to hope.
With over a 30% strikeout rate, he has a 2.05 ERA with a .93 WHIP. And across volume, I really do want to amplify the fact that it's not just those ratios; it's those ratios over quantity, right? You gotta Like, if you do that over 50 innings versus 114 innings, it's a huge, huge difference.
3 starts with fewer than 6 innings.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
And you want to know the crazy thing, too, is that the conversation over the winter was, is Zach Wheeler going to, get back to a 22, 23% strikeout rate?
And then it just jumped up. I mean, I feel like we bring it up a lot. We talk about Hendricks with the K rate, but I don't think even you thought it was going to be
I
this.
thought 25 plus, maybe if we're lucky 30, but even this is 31.4. I will say, if everyone's like, oh my God, Wheeler, like this is crazy, and I know I've said it so many times, but if you're looking for the next person that could do this, it's Sandy Alcantara. It's like this. It's the best comp you can think of. They both throw upper 90s with heaters that are just stupid hard to hit, and then you have a slider and a changeup for Alcantara that isn't there command-wise yet.
Yeah.
This is the biggest problem with Wheeler. Has been. I mean, he's gotten much better with it clearly, and the fastball has been better commanded than Alcantara's has. But if you want to talk about like raw ability of a guy that is not quite breaking that, that gate to elitedom, I mean, Wheeler was right there for ages, and all of a sudden, bam, zoom straight to the moon in 2021. Alcantara has the raw stuff and the raw approach, I think, too, that over time it will show itself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm pushing back against that, I mean, has he ever shown for a consistent time that kind of K upside? I don't think he's ever had a K rate above 23.
I mean, Wheeler did it once over like six seasons or something.
No, I mean, he had a 24% K rate in 2018, 24% K rate in 2019.
So
those would both be career highs.
I'm talking about, I think, the 2018 run that he had. That was ridiculous, right? Or was that maybe it was 2017?
No, maybe. No, I think it was 18 because 2017 he finished the year with a 5.21 ERA.
Okay, yeah, probably. Yeah. But right, that's the tale of Sandy Alcantara. You watch a game and you watch it with Wheeler and you watch it with Alcantara and you can be like, oh yeah, okay, I get this.
Yeah, his stuff. I think I'm still just waiting kind of for that click for Alcantara.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, you're not going to benefit as much if you're waiting for that moment.
Yeah, I mean, even still, just one double-digit strikeout game for him this year.
I'm not saying it's here now, though.
Okay,
that's what
you're saying
this. It's coming. It's just a matter of time.
I hope so. I have him in a dynasty league, so I would be very excited to have that happen.
You're a smart, wise man. Fast.
Thank you. I listened to Nick Pollack over at Pitcherlist. Let's move on over to
that scumbag.
He's a very good singer, I know. Let's move on over to Tier 3. What's it called and why is it called that? We are looking at Gerrit Cole, who I believe this tier is going to be based off of Lucas Giolito, Kevin Gausman, Clayton Kershaw, Carlos Rodon, Walker Buehler, and Corbin Burns.
It's the tattered deck.
Okay.
So think of like think of a deck of cards that you played kings with.
Okay, I'm thinking. It's like beer stained.
It's all that kind of stuff. So there are aces in there. They're technically aces, but it's like they're
There's
not
also
quite.
jokers.
Yeah. Oh well, all right. Who's the joker of this?
Well, this is what I want to ask you. So Gerrit Cole falls 3. He hasn't struck out.
He's the joker.
I'm asking you the question. I'm trying to. He hasn't struck out more than 6 since the beginning of July. Obviously, we all know about the spin rates by now. 4.60 ERA with a 5.95 FIP in that time over 29 and a third innings with just a 25% K rate, which for a lot of people would be like, great, a 25% K rate. But for Gerrit Cole, it's like just a 25% K rate.
Sure, yeah.
So we're seeing a much more human form from him. It doesn't look like it's just been one start. It's not like he can't turn it around. I think he could, but what are you doing? Is he the Joker?
No.
He's not the Joker.
He's not the Joker. Look, I mean, the last 2 starts, it was really weird against the Mets. He threw 5 sliders. Man. Like that's not it. And actually, in the previous start, he threw 27 sliders for the effect of 45% CSW. So I mean, it's not like the spin or the sticky the spider attack took that away from him. Like he just threw 5, and they were actually effective against the Mets. It was a 50% CSW. Actually, how do you do those? 4 sliders. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But that's like what? You're not okay. Just throw more sliders. That's fine. If you think, oh no, the fastball isn't good. Well, the fastball had 8 whiffs and 47 thrown. That's over a 15% swing strike rate, which is the Gerrit Cole fastball at 98. Right. The actual ability of Cole is still there. And I've heard comparisons like, oh no, now before Houston he was Pittsburgh and he was fine, but he wasn't elite, and now he's just going to be that, and that's ridiculous. He was throwing sinkers ineffectively. He was throwing a worse slider at the time and didn't have the same approach. Went to Houston where they taught him, yes, sticky stuff likely, but they also taught him the approach of 4-seamers up for him and then sliders down and in to lefties and away from righties.
Yeah.
And that was a huge, huge part of it. He's still doing that. I understand your fear of this. look.
Well, but those are tied together is what I'm just gesticulating
I get
for.
it, but I think he can be very effective still doing the same approach. He had a successful start against the Royals, where he only had 6 base runners in 7 innings on the 22nd, the day after this stuff was enforced.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of reaction after 2 starts for Gerrit Cole. I'm not selling right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm selling, especially because you're probably not going to be able to get what you want.
I think he's still a top 10 starter at the very least.
Yeah, I'm curious to see because and this is what we're going to see with a lot of people moving forward, right? Because there's going to have to be an adjustment because fundamentally you're not going to be able to elevate as well without spider tack.
Sure, yeah.
Right? And as a result, you're not going to be able to set up your breaking pitches as effectively as you once did, specifically a curveball. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts. I mean, you in my mind's like Walker Buehler still has success coming over to the heart of the plate with a 4-seamer, so Gerrit Cole theoretically could. He elevates just on 2 strikes.
Yeah. So Walker Buehler is okay. So I also do want to mention the ranking that I have of Cole here is 6, right? And I actually going into this thought, okay, I probably have him around 10, something like that. Same with Giolito. I thought I'd lower both of them. But you'll see, I mean, there's no real definitive guy in this tier that's like, oh, no, we're jumping up. The one that did was Lance Lynn. That was like the only one I'm like, okay, him. Kevin Gausman's closest.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
But, I mean, do you really feel that Kevin Gausman deserves that bump over Cole or Giolito right now? I mean, he's pitched at such a high level, but it's not as, say, believable for the second half, right?
I mean, I don't know anymore with Kevin Gausman.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like
Sure.
like we have seen a floor from Giolito that could now express itself more with these spin questions that we haven't seen with Gausman. And if that factor doesn't matter for Gausman, which it hasn't in terms of his 4-seam spin and his, the lack of spin in that splitter, then maybe it is okay to jump him up. I mean, he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs since April.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of April.
That's pretty cool.
That's insane. And we have seen those, Giolito have those poor games repeatedly at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Cole, I think I can understand. I think I don't disagree with this at all, but I think there is a good case to be made where jump Gausman over Gio.
And with Giolito, the one thing that made me not do it was that his fastball and his slider were both excellent in that last start.
Giolito.
Yes. The 4-seamer, even with all the concerns we had, was an excellent pitch.
Yeah.
Same with the slider. The changeup was actually the weird one that wasn't. And when you think about like spider tack stuff and changeups, I guess, it is still a circle change, but you kind of don't want to spin.
Sure.
Like you're trying to reduce it. You want to look the same, but you want it to have drop and stuff. And you're pushing it back in your hand so that you slow it down.
Yeah.
And if you're saying that you get less spin now, that look, all right. I mean, I can make it. I can understand you want to get more grip to be able to control it into the last moment. That's a good point. And this is kind of what I was talking about with splitters, where I think people are like, oh, the spin on his splitter is way down. I'm like, what? That's that's what you're trying to do.
That's what you want to do. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more of that if it goes up, that's actually concerning to me, because then that means that you're flicking it out differently. You're not holding it until the end, where then it just releases, like a knuckle in a way, right? That's what you're trying to do with a splitter. If you're not, that means coming out too soon. That means you don't have the good grip on it, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, with Giolito, I am slightly worried about that change being that bad. But the fact that the fastball and the slider were still excellent has me saying, okay, you know what, he'll figure that out.
I guess too, when you're getting back to back, like we, in these rankings, you have to consider opponents a little bit more.
I'm just thinking of Matthew McConaughey poster every single time you see back to
back. Back to back? Is there a movie that he's back to back?
There's like every poster.
It's always
before 2010 or something.
No, you're right. I guess I'm thinking of one with I her name from Almost Famous.
I was thinking.
Either way, when they're back to back, Kate Hudson.
Yes.
When they're back to back like that, like Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey, you do need to bring in their opponents, and no matter what, Gausman's gonna have to face.
Is that like the third character that is like the third wheel in the movie? That
yes, the Dodgers are the third. Yeah, the third wheel of that movie. I guess he still gets the Diamondbacks, but yeah, that's definitely a tougher division. I don't know. I want to move on to tier 4, though.
Sure.
I want to know what it's called and why it's called that. We're looking at a pretty formidable tier here with Rogers, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, Framber Valdez, Max Fried, Julio Urias, Sandy Alcantara, Joe Musgrove, Pablo Lopez, and Lance McCullers.
We're looking. Okay, these are Newspaper Joe.
Newspaper Jill or Joe?
Joe.
Okay, why?
Because they haven't moved. So they are the ones at the diner who are reading the paper.
Is that a term, Newspaper Joe?
I'm calling it one.
I thought it was some like old timey term that your dad said, like a regular newspaper Joe.
It's just newspaper Joe. Like it's a guy in the diner. You go in at like 6 o'clock or something. You look to the right. There's Joe with his newspaper.
Yeah, he's an extra.
Newspaper Joe.
It's newspaper
He
Joe.
hasn't moved since the last time you saw him.
There it is. Sometimes the names of the podcasts just find themselves, and this one's definitely newspaper Joe. That or the terrifying lighting on Alex
Yeah, there
Fast.
it is. Yeah, you look great.
So here's the question I wanted to ask you.
Terrifying.
We've talked about a good amount of these guys. We've gone in depth on Rodgers and Peralta and Ray and Valdez. And really, I was looking at this and I was like, okay, all of these guys we've given our opinions on. So I wanted to switch things up a little bit, actually.
Ooh.
I wanted you to rank your top 3 guys in this tier for Dynasty.
Oh, for Dynasty.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So I think I know who your number 1 is.
Sandy Alcantara.
Sandy Alcantara. So let's say top 5 then, because you've already gotten your number 1 out of the way here.
Okay.
I know it's difficult, right?
Okay, so we have 10 guys in here, right?
Yeah, I'll repeat them again for people who are listening. I'll give you another second. I want your top 5 here for Dynasty.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to rank them in order, starting at 14 down to 23. Trevor Rodgers, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, Framber Valdez, Max Fried, Julio Urias, Sandy Alcantara, Joe Musgrove, Pablo Lopez, and Lance McCullers. Because this is an interesting tier where they're all pretty relatively young guys. Maybe Peralta and Ray are like some of the older dudes, but they're all still young also.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
So,
yeah, right. They're all young guns in this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually doing it from the fact of who do I like the least. I know I'm not normally this pessimistic.
No, but I mean, it's still.
But I need to do it like
there's
that.
10 people here, and you're still going number 5, so you don't like
so
him.
the 5. Yeah. So that would be Lance McCullers.
So he'd be your number 5.
Well, he would just be. I mean, he's in that bottom tier for me. But yeah,
Okay.
it's just because of injury risk and just longevity, that kind of thing. Joe Musgrove would be there because Joe Musgrove has. I don't know. He's just kind of always battled this. Like he can never get locked in, and I'm kind of sick of waiting.
Well, hold on. I need clarity here. Are you ranking them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or you're saying I'm not even going to consider?
Bucket. These are the outside of the top 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get that. So these are outside of the top 5. Wow, interesting.
These are the ones
and Musgrove
are not
out.
in the dynasty top 5.
Wow, Musgrove out.
Yeah.
So
well,
why
I mean,
was
I like a lot of these, but like Musgrove is the one that's just more volatile. Of like one day he has got a slider and curveball working, he doesn't the next, and I don't. It's hard for me to get at this point, be like, okay, he's gonna lock in and do the thing.
Interesting. Okay,
right?
so we've got 2 out.
Freddie Peralta's out.
Yep.
Because he throws crossbody.
Sure.
And it bothers me so much.
That's fine. And remember too, for those listening, Nick ranked him at 15. We're just talking about Dynasty.
Yeah. This is a Dynasty. My God. All right. I mean, I just think Dynasty. I'm like prospects. Who? They don't exist to me until they throw a major league pitch. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. So those 2 are out.
Those 3.
Those 3.
Musgrove, Peralta.
Right. There's a part of me that wants to say Max Fried
is out.
Just because I wonder if we've seen the peak already, and some of these other guys are more interesting. Now I will say, okay, so that maybe that's on the 4 side, and then like on the higher side, Trevor Rodgers.
Okay, so he's in there. He's in the top 5.
Sandy Alcantara's in there.
Sandy, yep. Got that.
So definitely those 2. I'm kind of struggling with Urias because Urias I think his stuff is still so good, and he's still actually kind of young.
Yes.
And it's like you're just going to develop more, so I'm going to keep him in there. He's in the top
so we got 3.
Then it's between Pablo Lopez, Robbie Ray, and Framber Valdez essentially for those last 2 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
that's tough.
So the problem I have with Lopez is that I think he's just resigned as a 2-pitch guy. Like he's constantly trying to find his cutter and curveball and then really incorporate that. But I don't have faith, like I think the others, that he would elevate or get to that point. Robbie Ray has figured things out. He has legitimately changed his approach, and it's just worked.
Yeah.
Now I do have worry that he might get out of rhythm of that at some point.
That was my concern.
And that's a legitimate one. Framber Valdez is fine, but he's not the same ceiling as the others. So if Rodgers, Urias, and Alcantara are definitely up there, I'm just gonna go Lopez and Valdez then.
Yeah.
And then Ray is out.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I was going to bring up with Ray that it was, we've seen that great slider in Arizona before,
right.
And I don't want to discredit. I've obviously been wrong about him so far this year, but I think we've seen that volatility expressed. But then again, we've seen that every year with Lopez, right? Where there's streaks and then he gets blown up for 6 earned runs.
Right.
So I think that maybe you could make an argument that Lopez and Fried would be swapped out.
Maybe it's not Valdez instead. Yeah, it could. Yeah, right. It's very close. Anyway, there you go. There's a Dynasty Nick showing up that one time a year.
I wanted to bring him out a little bit. But
it's like Santa Claus.
It's an interesting question, and that's a fun tier.
For 364 days. Come on.
I think that tier deserves, now that I think about it, that tier deserves better than a fake name that you just made up. Newspaper Joe. Because they're the fun young arms that are going to lead the future.
Jordan actually had some names himself, like Little Caesars was the cool one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was Little Caesars.
Oh, I don't remember. It was just like the I called them Hot Wheels because they keep putting you through loops. Little Caesars is like how you kind of regret getting it, but like they can taste really good for a moment.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. I'm sorry, Jordan, if I butchered it.
He's like, how do you not remember? Sorry. You laughed. We looked at each other's eyes.
I don't even remember all the tier names I gave last week.
I don't. Yeah, that's the whole fun of it. Is they just disappear.
Oh man. All right, tier 5 fast. Let's keep it going.
All right, Sean Mania, Charlie Morton, Kyle Gibson. Never in my life did I think I would say Kyle Gibson before Aaron Nola when talking about this list. Yusei Kikuchi, Tyler Mahle, Sonny Gray, Shohei Ohtani.
Oh man, this is okay. This is like the Ben and Jerry's tier.
Okay.
They're all fantastic, and they come in so many different flavors.
Yes.
I mean, maybe some of them are not as fantastic, but I like them all.
Yeah, I think, which is still, once again, crazy. Didn't think we would be having this conversation about Kyle Gibson.
I know, but like it's ridiculous. It's the ultimate Vargas rule.
But it needs a new name. It can't be. It can't be.
It's like it's the Gibson rule.
It's the Gibson rule.
I mean, he's just, I can't deny the fact that this cutters work, the sliders work, the fastballs work. Like, it's great.
We talked about this where we said earlier, like, okay, for every Vargas rule, like, one good start, how many starts does that mean he would then be able to have bad starts before you would drop him?
Right.
So at this point, let me rephrase that. How many bad starts does Kyle Gibson, if Kyle Gibson has 2 poor starts, are you dropping him?
No, I'm hesitant. It's going to be the third, right? Remember the whole rule? The exception, the suggestion, and the confirmation.
So it has to be. So no matter what,
he's reached it. He's reached the moment. It's like, all right, you got that far. By the way, the cutter is not actually the good one. I was like, wait a second. I was like, the cutter's actually been the one that's performing badly.
Poor, yeah.
Yeah, the slider and the changeup are the ones that are doing things. Slider's up to 23% swing striker, which is so good.
But this is so fun too. This is what I love talking about the most, right? Everyone's like, so stop throwing the cutter. Well, the cutter could be the reason why the slider and the fastball are the way that they are.
Yeah, the cutter all of a sudden just shows up randomly, and you got to understand that batting average allowed is when it actually is put into play.
Sure.
So it still gets a good amount of strikes. It's near 60% rate. So there is a time and place for him to throw that cutter.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to focus too much on Gibson. We talked about Gibson plenty.
Yeah.
There's other guys that I actually want to focus on here. One is including a guy that you did a really nice video breakdown of with Yusei Kikuchi.
Oh yeah, he's great.
That was a pretty sick video. I think it was,
thanks,
what was it, his cutter that you were focusing on there?
Well, it was the entire inning of Kikuchi. I do them a lot during the morning live streams on Twitter. On Twitch. Of course, you should check them out. All right. You should honestly do it. But seriously, the Kikuchi inning was fantastic. He essentially used his slider, his four-seamer, and cutter. That's really what's going on. 96-mile-per-hour four-seams that are really effective, cutters that are just getting the strikes for him, and the slider that has a fantastic swing strike rate. Like, it's all there. It's working. He's going deep into games. I think it was 3 of his last 4 have 7 innings.
That's, once again, like, I know I got to stop just expressing shock because I can't get over it. Sonny Gray makes his valiant return here, coming in at number 30. So I guess talk to me a little bit about why behind Tyler Mahle, just because Mahle's been fantastic and you think there's still going to be a little bit of rust there?
Well, okay, so Tyler Mahle is great. Like, he's kind of a better Barrios. He's what we want Jose Barrios to be. I don't actually think that Tyler Mahle is ever going to be a top 20 guy because it's a four-seamer and a slider, and there really isn't much else in that. Sometimes the splitter shows up, and he goes, yeah, I've saved you today. Yeah. I am the splitter.
There's that singing we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. Golden voice, of course. Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. No, but Tyler Mahle I don't really ever think is going to be that top 20 guy, so he's going to help out. He's going to give you strikeouts, just not really be that golden goose. And Sonny Gray has that potential. We've seen it before from him. It's just a question of does he have his breakers back? And actually threw 88 pitches in his first start. Returning, actually saw 86. The Reds even said that he threw too many, which I found interesting. I guess he just got out of the 5th inning and completed it. And they were like, all right, fine. You're going to stay in, I guess, for one extra at bat or so. I do wonder how many he's going to get in that second start now. Could be around 75 or so just to make up for it. Yeah. I don't know. But still, after that, I mean, he had a really good slider in that start. That's really good. He had his curveball before the injury. He didn't have the slider. Now he's a slider. That's very positive to me. He had 8 strikeouts in that game. I think we should feel pretty good.
We should feel pretty good. That just got me thinking, too. So next week, right, the All-Star break begins on Monday.
Aye.
And then are we going to
hang out?
I try
so hard.
I'm excited. Sonny Gray got me excited because I was thinking about who the best second half performers are going to be.
Sure.
Right? Is Dylan Bundy going to be able to turn it around in the
Come on,
second
fast,
half?
fast. Come on.
Is anyone going to be good ever again?
I'm just so happy you were able to write that article last year.
I suppose this year. Coming into the year, I had Bundy a little low too, so I'm fine. I didn't want this to happen. Didn't want this to happen.
None of us did.
You know what's funny too? As Orioles fans, we like to get dunked on because a guy has one good season.
I didn't. What?
Oh, I know you're not, but I was just thinking, like, we rightfully get that, and then what? There's no justification when we end up being right? Bundy stinks down.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to tier 6, which again another formidable tier, which makes sense as we start to get into the deeper tiers. Here we're going to start with Chris Bassett, Taijuan Walker, cracks me up again, Shane McClanahan, Luis Castillo, Ian Anderson, Zach Plesac, Tarek Skubal, Dylan Cease, Jose Barrios, and Tony Disco himself, Anthony Disclafani.
Right. I have to come up with the name.
Yeah, listen, I gave you time. What's it
yeah.
called?
I was listening to him like, oh yeah, those are guys.
What do you need to listen to? You made the list.
I know, but
what's it called? Why is it called that? Stop wasting time.
This is how you get the best out of me, right? Oh God, I'm gonna call it Adderall.
Adderall? Because it's so disjointed and you need to focus on it, or what?
Exactly, there it is. No. Essentially, all of these guys can bring out the best of themselves, and they need to focus, but they're not quite there. And you're like, I need the Adderall to like be that, unlock that potential.
Okay,
that's where my brain was going under pressure. I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
I've actually never had Adderall. I don't know if you have. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
no, I haven't.
Shane McClanahan is doing really well these days.
I'm scared to walk down the street.
I know, right? I'm like,
yeah. Wait, I'm not on anti-anxiety medication because I love drugs.
Anyway, McClanahan is looking great. He did get the Jays, and now he gets the Jays again, which is really annoying. But man, McClanahan is like, he's so good. Have you watched that guy? Have you watched like a full start of McClanahan yet?
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm happy I can finally say I have watched a full start as opposed to like, okay, is he actually going to come out again?
Yeah,
like,
right. You've seen 6 innings from him, and it's
overpowering at times.
It's
like sometimes,
unreal.
Yeah.
He needs to get more stamina. I will say this: like he got pulled in the other game at around 70 pitches and change in the 6th, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
But if you watch that game, it was a tough situation. He got first and second in a 1-1 game, with 1 out, and like. He was a little more gassed. And It was just like, okay, I get this. Kevin Cash. You want to save him from the third time through the lineup in a really good Jays lineup when he's actually not at his peak. Fine.
Yeah.
But it's a low 90s slider with mid to upper 90s heaters. We saw 100 earlier on, and he has 2 secondaries that each could develop into a legit number 2 in their own right in that changeup and curveball as well. So it's, just more. I just want more of McClanahan.
Yeah.
Just give me more.
Now,
him.
I hate to bring up this guy for the first time. Well, not the first time. Maybe we've talked about it a little bit in the context of a falling. But Ian Anderson falls 4.
Yeah.
So what have you seen recently from Ian Anderson?
It hasn't been. It's not nothing against Anderson. I'm more encouraged about Bassett right now. More encouraged about Walker. More encouraged about McClanahan. More encouraged about Castillo.
I will say, too, how crazy of a journey this Taijuan Walker thing has been.
It's unreal. He just keeps going.
Hey, he should be on the top 100, and now he's 33.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
I know. He just keeps doing it. I will say I am concerned in the second half about Taijuan Walker.
Save it for next week's.
Oh, that's
what I got excited about, right?
Oh.
Who's going to be legit? Who's going to turn it around? Who's going to be? There's always someone in the second half that you end up streaming that you're like, they figured it out.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
I mean, we're going to talk about those in I don't know, 30 ranks.
What do you mean?
Oh, there's a fun little section I made.
About second half guys?
No, just whatever.
We'll get
streamers.
That's
and stuff
a tease.
like that. Yeah. With a capital T.
Exactement.
Yeah.
All right. Zach Plesac returns right up at number 37.
Only going to throw 60 pitches, though.
Okay. So then why at 37?
It's about the rest of the season, not the next week.
So not concerned about some of the shakiness that was there earlier on.
Look, Zach Plesac, I said it before, and I'll say it again, kind of, you have 2020, which is the peak.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2019, which is a floor, and you saw kind of what he did, and you can argue, oh, no, the floor was what he did earlier this year. I feel like everyone understanding Zach Plesac this is not him. This was an exception. This seemed like weird and different. I think Zach Plesac is a legit pitcher. He's going to get the volume over time. It's like, all right, I'll take like a week or 2 to get there, but if Zach Plesac was at 90 pitches now, he'd probably be around around like Molly or so.
Yeah.
Maybe Sonny Gray.
He is going to get that volume because,
Oh,
man.
my God. Who else is going to start for them?
Literally, yeah. Like,
crazy.
Hopefully they get Savali back soon.
Any sort of innings limits are out the window now for Plesac. Just go and do great things.
Without a doubt. And
Yeah.
if they still want to try and get a wild card or even win that division, they still got some work to do.
And I have to also say, like, Skubal, Cease, Barrios, Descofani all have their massive awards assigned to them. Descofani increased 7 to be here, but Descofani's a fastball slider guy. And I don't really know if those two pitches are that great to maintain the success he's had so far.
Well, I'm actually glad that you brought him up because he's the last guy that I wanted to talk about in this tier. Is this finally the year for Tony Disco? Is this at the end of the year? This is going to be one we look back and we're like, wow, he finally put it all together.
Well, at least the first half.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about full year. We're talking about moving forward. Or is this fully going to regress to like mid-low 3 ERA?
Well, yeah, it should be that. I would be very shocked if he kept this sub-3 ERA. Like, for the entire year, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
There's no way.
Yeah.
His stuff is good, but it's not that great.
It's just crazy to see. I feel like this is a guy we've been talking about for years.
I know. Well, I think actually, I remember this distinctly. Like, he did bad 2020, went to free agency, and the Giants got him for, like, nothing. I remember thinking, like, yeah, it's still Tony Disco. I mean, he still had, like, 120 whip, I think. He was, like, the Jared Eichhoff kind of.
Sure.
2019, right? Where, like, Gerrit Cole had, like, this weird season where it was a 120 whip all of a sudden and, you know, a decent ERA. Like, oh, there's actually some value. Sorry, I don't know where that voice is coming from, but
no.
But Tony Disco kind of was like, oh, yeah, like a 370 ERA, 120 whip. I'm cool with that 22% strikeout rate. And, like, he's actually done better than that, but I don't think he's so far removed. There isn't that thing that's all of a sudden so new about Tony Disco, Anthony Descofani, that makes me think, oh, yeah, he's a sub-3 ERA guy now. Absolutely not.
Okay. Tier number 7, we are looking at Hyunjin Ryu, Zach Greinke, Luis Garcia, Adam Wainwright, Alek Manoah, Kyle Hendricks, and Marcus Stroman.
The young and the restless.
Very nice.
So we have the young people and we have the guys that you just can't stop pitching.
Yes. Like, it is a perfect mix of young and old. For every Adam Wainwright, you have your Alek Manoah.
You can thank my grandmother and mother for watching that show forever.
Oh, yeah?
Believe it or not, Nick on that show was born right when I was born.
Really?
Yeah.
My mom was an As the World Turns fan.
I see. And the Nick in that show had like a kid at 15. Like when I was 15 or so. Like
Really?
Yeah, they grew up the character so fast. I was like, this isn't fair.
That's not me.
No.
I do like thinking that that's your picture of Dorian Gray is the Nick from As the World Turns. All right, the one guy that
Young and the Restless. Young and the Restless.
Oh, Young
Get
and
it
Restless.
right.
I apologize.
But yeah.
I want to talk about Alek Manoah. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like there were some concerns after he made his debut, especially a little bit maybe about command.
Yep.
So, you know, it's not like he's top 30 here, but top 46. He's rising up a little bit. Is there anything that you have seen from him recently that makes you feel a little bit better?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. 23,
aside from the
23, 23 whiffs and a gallows pole on that start. The most recent one is his slider was just absurdly good.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, he showed, hey, Nick, I know you're concerned about the changeup that was there in that first start in the debut, and it made me really excited that he had 3 pitches he can throw in any count. And he's turned more into that fastball slider guy. But we've seen a lot of fastball slider guys have a ton of success this year, as long as they're both good pitches, especially the slider. And that slider is just, it's filthy right now, fast. We're talking like a 20% swing strike rate, 36% CSW. If you can do that and you throw it 28% of the time, he's actually upped it in that start to 30% usage. I like that. That's great. I want to see a little bit more, honestly. But I think he can just be 4-seamer slider and be effective. So Manoah is someone I trust now. I mean, I think there's a ceiling that can be higher than this if the changeup shows up.
Yeah.
Just so when the slider isn't as amazing, he has that backup plan. But he showed that he has a slider enough, so it's good.
Yeah, because we've seen moments where that changeup is like, oh, okay. It's definitely flashed plus.
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay, the next guy or last guy I want to talk about that list is Marcus Stroman. So cooking through, is this falling 3 more so other guys rising than it is?
Yes and no.
Falling?
I mean, he has not done good things. It's kind of crazy for someone who has such a successful season to keep falling this far. He's at 48 now. Stroman's last start, guess how many Ks he had in 5 innings?
0?
Yeah, 0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How am I going to feed my family with this fast?
Yeah.
His sinker was the only pitch he was really throwing. His slider didn't really do anything. It was really, really bad. I mean, it was against the Yankees. It was opposite Cole, so everyone focused on Cole, but it was the Stroman start that was laborious. Yeah. And he had this hip soreness before. He removed from that one, threw 3 innings after that, then had this one. And he's not in that groove yet. Now, I do think he can get back into it. He's still top 50. If I didn't think he was going to get back into that groove, he'd be like 70 or something like that.
Also, the passing of his grandmother, he was something definitely
that's
impacted him.
That's a fantastic point. And I might not be actually incorporating that enough into this.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of that tier. I mean, you also have Hyunjin Ryu who's fallen all the way to 42 fast.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Hyunjin Ryu, you also look at guys like Kenta Maeda, guys. I mean, there's this list is kind of full of surprises for sure. The next guy I want to talk about is actually Kenta Maeda, because I feel like we keep getting questions on Twitter like, should I just drop him? And I don't, like, you gotta not do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the question is always, who do I drop him for? Because in many leagues, yes, before this start, I was saying, yeah, go get, that guy instead of Maeda, because he's a safer bet right now. And I didn't expect Maeda to have the start that he just had against the Royals. And we're talking a start finally fast. He had 10 strikeouts and an amazing slider and splitter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hi, both pitches finally showing up for a start. It's great after you didn't have either one against the Chicago White Sox.
Is he? Maybe he's one of the guys for second half where hopefully, I mean, we'll have to see a last start and see if that was kind of a fluke against Kansas City. But man, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 10 Ks. That
was him at his peak.
That's showing up for sure. But we already peeked into tier 8 without giving him a name. So we have Maeda, Marquez, Paddock, Wood, Snell, Alzolay, Sandoval, Caprillion, Joe Ross, the title image for this week, Mr. Slider Whiff himself, and Jake Odorizzi and Frankie Montas.
I'm gonna call him the Furby tier.
Okay.
Because I can see someone wanting to collect all of these.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, like I want to get Albert Alzolay everywhere I can right now.
We're gonna get to him before
Patrick Sandoval, James Caprellian, Caprielian, Joe Ross, Jake Odorizzi, Alex Wood now getting a slider back. Herman Marquez is doing incredible things right now. Like, I want to collect a lot of this.
I think it is Caprillion.
Caprillion?
Yeah, Caprillion.
Okay, sounds good.
I got self-conscious because I think he's Armenian.
Oh.
I'm not positive. Maybe
Former
I'm wrong.
Yankee.
Okay, yeah, that's how you pronounce it. I want to start. We're gonna work down a little bit. I do want to talk about Alzolay. I do want to talk about Ross. Obviously, he was the title image. But I want to start with Marquez. Seems like there's a little bit of a shift in a mentality there, jumping him up 15. Because we've seen games where he has done very well, but it seemed like there was a reticence in the past to then boost him up a little bit more.
I mean, there still is, but the fact that pretty much he's been unbelievably good, and then has this weird 1 start against the Reds at 8 earned runs that just ruins everything. I mean, I'm talking 2 earned runs, 0-1-0-8. 1-1-1-0.
And at Coors too, a better record at Coors.
Well, right, yeah, that was in Cincy. Was that 1? But that's still
do
not a good place to pitch, is in Cincinnati. But the fact that the slider is this good right now is kind of crazy to me. He's only been throwing 15% of the time, but we're talking 25% swing strike rate, 38% CSW for Herman Marquez's slider, and the curveball is not bad either. 36% CSW on that pitch, 21% swing strike rate, ridiculously good. The four-seamer is still being thrown half the time, though. And I want to see that down to like 40% when you have this good secondary stuff. But yeah, fast slider, that is a money pitch.
Always and forever.
I had to, always and forever. It wasn't for like 2 years or so. The
always
slider
and
came
forever.
back.
No. Always and forever. But I do want to bring that up a little bit too. This is now it's not a surprise to see him with a mid-3 ERA. I mean, so 3.75 in 2020, 3.77 over 2018. Do we not give him enough credit because of the Coors?
Well, I mean, as a pitcher, no, we don't. But like him out of Coors, we always say like, oh, Herman Marquez out of Coors. Like, oh my God. But we don't actually consider him good or something like that, or like an amazing pitcher. Despite that, we recognize that he would be so much better outside of it, but we don't give him the credit and act like he's an actual top 20 starter or something like that, because he doesn't have the chance to actually go off and prove it. Yeah. Right? But yeah, it's unbelievable what he's doing.
Yeah, totally. And while the splits are almost bizarre this year with like that, I think he has a 3 ERA over 70 innings at home this year, 3.06 with a 4.67 over 34 and 2/3. But the far larger sample size is in reverse into his career numbers with a 4.7 ERA at home and a 3.61. So it's not like he has magically figured out Coors.
No, not at all.
In the start, but he is a very exciting person to roster currently. So now we can move on to Albert Alzolay, rising 24. I mean, the command in that last start wasn't enough for me that it's like, okay, he's kind of really figured out those issues. What are you seeing that all of a sudden shoots him back near top 50?
The fact that he threw 39% sliders and they came with a 44% CSW. I mean, that to me, if Alzolay has a slider, things are going to be good.
Okay.
And this was the first start since his blister issue that he actually showcased that slider working. And if Alzolay can do that, which he did in this start, he earned a King Cole, in it. Okay, had a 35% CSW for the entirety of the start. Yeah, I'm in.
Who was that start against?
That start was against the
Cincy.
Reds in Cincy.
Yeah.
Marquez couldn't handle it.
Yeah, so that does make it even more impressive. I don't know. I think for me the jury is still out a little bit because
I understand that. Yeah.
His May was great. His June was not.
Look at the guys that he's around. Okay, it's not like I love the Panda, Irish Panda, Patrick Sandoval and all, but that doesn't mean like I know he's going to have the best second half in the world.
Sure.
Jacob Orizzi, what is that going to look like? I don't know. There's a ton of questions. He's literally behind Blake Snell. If you want to talk about question marks, right? So I love Owsley. I want to chase this. I think there is a good, it's a good bet to make, but it doesn't mean that all of a sudden like he's fixed and ready to go. He's not. There was a moment he was in the 40s and everything before. He's not there yet.
I'm chomping at the bit.
Chomping.
I want to hear you talk about Joe Ross.
Oh, he's so good.
This man is he? Is he so?
He's
so good?
I mean, it's
3 earned runs, no walks, 11 Ks against the Dodgers.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
just
really good. Fast.
That's bananas. But I don't. Can we now definitively say Joe Ross is a really good pitcher? Sell me on Joe Ross.
On Cross, 5 of his last 6 starts, he totaled 5 total runs.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Just even hearing that is pretty good. His last 3 starts, at least 7 Ks in each of them. He's going deep in games. Across his last 6 starts, just one of them has been under 6 innings, including an 8 and a 7-inning start. His slider has improved as well. We're talking around 30% CSW, 50% zone rate, so he's getting a ton of strikes with them. It allows him to go deeper into games. It's all just good, man. I'm feeling better about it than I used to be. The fact that his fastball is getting a ton of swing strikes, surprisingly, 11%, which is kind of cool. I don't really expect that from Joe Ross. I still remember the 2015 Joe Ross. That's like 2 seamers and sliders.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing.
Sure.
This is great. I had him, I think, like in the 30s in the preseason of 2015 or something like that. Because, 2 seamers, amazing. Ground balls, the best.
Yeah. 2 seamers are a hell of a drug, man.
Oh my God. But anyway, so we've changed. Things change. And Joe Ross is just doing good things right now where essentially I was just streaming him saying, great, against weak teams, I'm going to start Joe Ross. And then he does this against the Dodgers, and you can't help but feel more confident now.
What is the bigger shock? Kevin Gausman is a top 10 pitcher, or Joe Ross is the second best pitcher on Washington?
That is Joe Ross. Yeah,
Joe Ross,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable.
It really
Second
is.
best pitcher in Washington.
You imagine
with
it?
Strasburg and Corbin falling off, yeah.
Can you imagine I say that about at any point in the year? Like
I would have said to you that I would have said to you, oh, Corbin is 1 and Scherzer and Strasburg are hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But with Corbin actually pitching and he's better than them, yeah.
Or you would have just dug in and been like, everyone's hurt. Austin Voth is actually great. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we were upset that Voth was not getting the opportunities at first, and it was Ross.
Yeah. And now here we are.
Yeah. I remember actually talking to Kimball. I think you know Kimball. And he was like, hey, anything on Joe Ross? I was like, no, man. And then he had that blow up against Arizona when it was 7 runs, or actually it was a 10-1 against St. Louis. He was like, all right, fine, you got me. I was like, yeah, this is, he's not there yet. And then now I'm like, hey, so Joe Ross.
Joe Ross, yeah, he's the cover image of the top 100. All right, let's move on to Tier 9. We're looking at Wade Miley, Logan Gilbert, Nathan Eovaldi, Eduardo Rodriguez, JT Brubaker, Zach Eflin, and Domingo Germán.
Okay, they are. Okay, I have it. I have it in my head. They are the bologna sandwich.
Why?
Because you'll go into the fridge not looking to eat the bologna sandwich, but this is what you got, so you got to go with it.
Who's got just a bologna sandwich ready made in their fridge?
So you're gonna see like, okay, you got some bologna, you got some mayo or something like. You make a bologna sandwich. This is what these are the guys who make the bologna sandwich.
These are all those kind of bland ingredients, but it'll sate you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough.
Sate.
I like that word, and I actually embarrassing enough.
Satiated. I love it. Yeah.
I like bologna as well.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Bologna.
Oh God, I set it up right for you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
The one person I wanted to talk about in this tier, obviously you can chime in with whatever you'd like to talk about, but Eduardo Rodriguez rising 8. Is this just the kind of ever, the constant ebb and flow that is Erod?
Like, okay, so Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't know if you remember this, but I've been like the anti-Eduardo, and I feel really bad because I you know me, I want every pitcher to be dope,
100%.
but I recognize that he had this ridiculous 6-game stretch or whatever in August of 2019 that all of a sudden turned a terrible season into a digestible season.
Yeah.
And now I think that we're at a point where people are recognizing, like, okay, Eduardo is not the man that we want him to be. Sure. But recently his four-seamer has been doing good things. His changeup actually hasn't been as good as it can be. And I think there is more to come for Eduardo when the fastball and changeup are linked up together and working well. The cutter and slider are never going to work. I don't know whatever you want to call it. It's the same pitch. He's just using it to get strikes in the zone, and that's it. It's never going to be a pitch that saves him when the changeup isn't there. But the fastball has been a really well-commanded pitch so far, like the past 3 starts or so. I feel okay about that, and hopefully the changeup will catch up.
There are so many kind of bizarre, outliers for me, noticeably that BABIP, right? The 357 BABIP for him is way above that career norm for him. That sticks out a lot for me. It's just always funny to think about, like, the thing that I talked about with Erod in the offseason is he's been, oddly enough, the picture of consistency. Like, always with that kind of high 3 ERA.
128 whip or whatever it
always
is.
with the 120, like 126, 127 whip. Always with the near 12% K rate. And it feels like he's literally just heading in that direction again, where he's not a mid-5 ERA pitcher. He's not a low 5 ERA pitcher. And that probably means if he's not going to be that, then that second half is going to be pretty good for him.
When did those 6 starts happen? It was August in 2019 that saved him, right? You want to know the guy, if there's any one pitcher to me that is the Chris Davis's average of starting pitching.
With a K.
Yeah. With a K. Yeah, absolutely with a K.
Yeah.
But do you have someone in mind that's not Eduardo Rodriguez, who that would be?
Like that's consistent, like
just
you know what you're
always
getting?
exactly the same. Like, doesn't matter. The ebbs and flows of the season, he generally goes up and down, but there's one thing.
But it just levels out.
Do you know who this is?
No, who?
It's Jose Barrios.
Oh, yes.
Every
that
single
makes
year.
a lot of sense.
Like this year, he's even right there again.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah,
How does he do this? How does he oh, no, that ERA is 350. No. I got to mess up today. It's crazy.
Yeah. But in many ways, in this world that's ever changing, it's actually quite nice.
There you go, right? But I didn't even look at it because I knew that he was like a 3.5 ERA. I'm not even joking. Then you just had this bad start against the White Sox. I need to see this. Where is Jose Barrios now? 3.56, 115 whip, 24%, 25% K rate. Normally he's like a 3.65.
Sure.
3.7 with like a 115 to 120 whip and about a 23, 24% K rate. Look at it. It's crazy to me. He just figures it out.
It does just have a weird way of stabilizing for him.
I hope this is the offseason that we finally say, all right, maybe Jose Barrios is never going to be that ace.
He just is what he is.
Can we have this? Can we as a community be like, all right, we get it, that's fine.
There's enough of a sample size here for us to finally believe that this is true.
It's crazy to me. It just blows my mind.
Let's move on to the next tier, which is a tiny little mini tier full of babies. Wow. This, no, the way that I said it, I don't know, that came out next. A lot of risers here, a lot of young guys. Nick Pivetta, Zach Thompson, Tyler McGill, John Gray, and Bailey Ober. 2 guys making their debut on the list in McGill and Bailey Ober. What is this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is shortened Hanukkah.
Like it's not 8 nights, it's just 4?
5. Yeah, okay. It's just 5 of them, but they're all little gifts.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. They're all little gifts.
Yeah, man, I just feel really bad because what I'm suggesting is that there isn't enough oil.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
It's just 5 instead of 8. But no, like these are the interesting ones that I hinted at before. Okay. So I mean, surprisingly,
the second half kind of.
Surprisingly, Nick Pivetta is rostered in way too many leagues. I'm like absolutely shocked that, I guess not too many. I am suggesting you have him, but like he's over 60%. It's crazy to me. And Sandoval's like way, way lower and stuff like that, but Pivetta stays there, and he actually just had the start.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so great fast. It was against the Athletics. He was throwing 95. It was peppering right at the top, and it wasn't. He always has this like moments of chaos, the happy accidents or whatever you want to call them, tries to turn those pitches into birds on the canvas. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. I know that's not supposed to be a bird.
Works for Ross.
Pivetta, I know. But
Bob, not Joe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay. It kind of works for Joe. Oh, I liked it. All right, but Pivetta finally did that and then kept his breaking balls down. And it worked. It was great. 10 strikeouts, 7 innings. I don't know if that's going to stick, but it's a little gift.
At this point, nothing surprises me anymore, but I want to focus on these 3 younger guys that people might not be as familiar with. We're going to start with Zach Thompson, who he rose 11. He's up at 68 now, 2.25 ERA in those first 3 starts. He's faced Atlanta twice. He's had really good results there.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything in that arsenal that really sticks out to you?
Well, I mean, it's 2 things. Normally, he's going to have a lot of success with the cutter. the cutter and fastball command. If the fastball command has been really good, and I gotta say for all three of these guys, for Tyler McGill and Bailey Ober as well. By the way, I don't know if you read the roundup today, but I have way too much fun with Ober jokes to the point that I was, I kept going through other blurbs and making Ober jokes. It doesn't matter.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, I had a good time. No, they all have really good fastball command, and if they have that, they each have secondary pitches that all of a sudden get amplified because of it and really, really shine. With Zach Thompson, it's a cutter and a curveball. Actually, the curveball's come out more so in the last two starts than the first two. Really cool to see that because I thought it was just going to be fastball cutter. I'm like, nope, here's a really good curveball too, and that's pretty awesome. With Tyler McGill, it's a changeup that was really nice at times.
Yeah, for that start, it was really nice because he's more noticeably a fastball slider guy, which is, as we've been talking about, I feel like that's kind of the in vogue thing right now.
Sure.
But yeah, that changeup showed up in a big way in that
whiffs
start.
And 22 thrown for Tyler McGill in the last one. But against the Braves, when it was 8 strikeouts in 5 innings, it was more of the slider show a little bit. As at least he went to it 28% of the time, but still actually the changeup was under as many whiffs and 10 fewer thrown, just 5 and 14 as opposed to 5 and 28 for the slider for Tyler McGill against Atlanta. So I kind of like McGill, and the fact that Mets need all the help they can get.
Well, for now,
yeah. Well, Carrasco should come back at some point.
Yep.
But they're throwing, I believe it's Robert Stock tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're gonna need the help.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tyler McGill could get more opportunities. That's really exciting. Bailey finally had that really good de facto start. I mean, he had a couple other ones once again against the Astros and one against Seattle, but he did it again against the White Sox, which is really, really encouraging after 2 starts where he really struggled. But I loved watching. Actually, this morning, check out the Twitch stream. I went over
Bailey Ober.
Yeah, before it even started. Actually, I want to watch him again before the podcast, and I really liked what he was doing. He had a nice curveball slider changeup was mixed in there, but the fastball command was everything. And I thought before that 92, 93 from him was not going to be enough, but he was spotting it so well against the White Sox, and that's how he got his outs and his strikeouts. So good stuff there.
Ober under 24%
there
K
it
rate.
Is. Oh, you can't see you laugh at me. You say, oh,
yeah,
jokes.
I do always say that to you. I just call you randomly at times and go, oh, jokes.
See, this is what I have to deal with.
Let's move on to tier 11. We're looking at
the answer to your question. Under
okay.
24%. Yeah, for Bailey Ober strikeout rate, but it's gonna be I don't know if I had to guess 22, 23.
Yeah, it would be like Bailey Ober it.
Yeah, there it is. See, it's so addicting, isn't it?
No.
We can do this over the hills and far away.
Oh, God. Tier 11, Patrick Corbin, Michael Pineda, Ross Stripling, Jordan Montgomery, Cole Irvin, Tony Gonsolin, Jamison Tyone, and Casey Mize.
So you do the same thing I do, where we add a tilde over Pineda's N.
Pineda?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I can't help myself.
Yeah.
I know. I just want to be
Stop stalling.
I even forgot who the names were. All right. This is the lost and found.
Okay.
Because if you're like, uh-oh, I don't have anything, you go through this box.
Okay. I want to start here with Ross Stripling, who seemed like he had been rising up in past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think maybe fell a little bit last week and then fell a little bit more this week. Just hasn't figured it out in the way that you thought he figured it out.
Yeah, it's he figured it out against the Yankees with secondaries and the four-seamer.
Who hasn't figured it out against them this year? But yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, right. But the secondaries were actually really working and they looked good and everything. And then since it's just not, and it's really just been that one start.
Yeah,
the secondaries, and that got me initially encouraged, but it just hasn't been there. So I am a little, but at the same time, he's still in the top 75, so that means he should be considered. Well, a guy like Cole Irvin, he's had such a good season, but I do not believe the pitches that he throws for longevity, sadly.
So who of these guys, who do you think would be least surprising to see them in the top 50 at the end of the year?
Oh, man, I would love it to be Jamison Tyone, but I worry about the shape of his pitches. I could see Tony Gonsolin get in there if he gets a slider back, and the Dodgers okay, you're healthy, and we're going to let you do this. Essentially, he's the only one that's affected by Dodgeritis right now. It's incredibly frustrating. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's maybe Jordan Montgomery if he really figures out that changeup and curveball approach with the fastball. Maybe it's Patrick Corbin again, but he's just been going back and forth too much.
Yeah,
it's annoying. It's an annoying tier. Casey Mize, I'm sorry he's down here, but The Tigers said, hey, we're going to limit his pitches now. Cool. Great. Awesome.
Yeah. There's no rush there. And those are the guys, I mean, in the second half that it's going to finally start biting people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's move on to Tier 12 then, which, oh, lordy, what a doozy. Kwang Yun Kim, Steven Matz, Merrill Kelly, Andrew Heaney, Drew Smiley, Vladimir Gutierrez, Johnny Cueto, Danny Duffy, Caleb Smith, Rich Hill, Alex Cobb, Chris Flexen.
They are the bookcase.
Because they hold a lot?
Because there was a time you probably had one of these guys on your team, and then you look at them and go, oh, yeah, I'll never read that again.
Oh, wow. So let's start then with the biggest faller. I mean, we've seen volatility.
Maybe like every so often you're like, it's a rainy day.
I'll pick this one up. Oh, that's why I put it up there. I'm not doing this
it's
again.
It's not color-coded like yours, though.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Why do you not like that? It's gorgeous.
I hate the color coding.
Why? Because you can't find the book?
Yeah, because now I got to remember what book I want, and then I got to go Google it to see which cover I have, and then look at the spine, and the spine doesn't always match the cover. Oh, jeez. All right, so
do you actually? But this is the point I'm making. Like the bookcase is like mostly for show.
Not mine. I read the books.
All of them.
That's what you buy a book for.
But you've already read it. They should essentially have the color coded one for the ones you've already read.
Okay, fine.
That makes sense, right? Because then you don't have to go and get it again.
Do you believe Andrew Heaney's rating here has fallen 23? So you're saying that there is no bounce back here, or you're just kind of you're fed up with the volatility?
Fed up. Like, how can you possibly pick him up right now and think, oh, yeah, this is going to be good?
Yeah.
It's a desperate play if you need strikeouts. I can also understand the argument if you need a decent whip, because actually his whip isn't, it's not like 140, 150 or something. Traditionally, it's underneath 130 or barely that. So that could still work for Andrew Heaney, but yeah, the ERA is going to be rough, man.
The ERA is going to be rough. I guess his first start of the year was 7 earned runs, and then he rattled off a bunch of great starts, and then he blew up, and then he had some good starts. You know what I mean?
It just seems like quintessential cherry bomb.
It really is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You can almost put your watch to it. You want to talk about consistency? There's some consistency there for you. The other guy that I wanted to talk about here that I don't think we've given necessarily a lot of love to, who I don't think he makes his debut on the list. I think he's been in the back end before. He fell off and now he's back. Is Vladimir Gutierrez?
Yeah, I really liked his pitch separation.
Yeah,
he had a good start over the weekend. Fastballs were glove side and up, and then he had his secondary pitches down away. I mean, like this could work as a streamer essentially. I don't think he's going to ascend the list, but I think like all right, you get a good matchup. I think this can work.
Is this it for Rich Hill, who falls 28 to 89?
Oh, man, his spin rates have dropped.
It's bad.
I mean, I understand. A guy like 41 years old trying to survive in the league is going to likely use Spider Tag.
Totally.
I get it completely, but I've always been a little worried about how he's getting his outs. And, the four-seamer was performing better than I expected and not really getting whiffs on his curveball, and now the fastball's worse. And, oh, boy, it's not very good. Not to mention the fact that,
Burr.
See, it's fun, isn't it?
Sorry, go
It's
on.
the best. I'm just so happy that you understand me now.
Yeah,
You get it.
I've always gotten you.
You've never understood me. I wish I could slam a door right now. Rich Hill, he's supposed to get injured too. That's what the mentality.
Jesus.
I'm sorry, that was the poorly way of saying
very
that.
nefarious.
Yeah.
He's supposed to get injured.
It's such like a massive brain stall that I just like.
Yeah, fine.
But yeah, we expected him to, right? He's 41. He's never really gone a full season not getting injured. So we expected in the final 3 months at some point he was going to get injured. Anyway, the Rays are actually limiting him, trying to get the most out of him without keeping him healthy. And the whole thing just speaks to, not fantasy relevance on top of that whole spin rate dropping. So yeah, he's fallen.
Speaking of not fantasy relevance, I mean, I think
supposed to get injured.
I know that it was yeah. It's,
Oh,
you're
I'm
like
so
a
sorry,
mafia
Richard.
boss who just found out that the hit that he arranged didn't go through his plan.
Oh no!
What do you mean he's still
I hope
alive?
he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't. It's such a great story that Rich Hill still is able to be in the majors.
Is Chris Flexen one of the guys who's just kind of flying under the radar because he's on a poor team?
I understand that he's actually had some success. Don't get me wrong, but I really just the whole thing is so boring to me.
Yeah.
He had a start of 19 whiffs, which is like, what?
Yeah.
And you did that without the cutter working was more four seamers, and then it went away.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man.
It is a little bit unsexy. I mean, you really like the K's are not gonna be. This isn't a K upside guy for sure.
No.
So I guess if you're gonna be streaming him, you're gonna be doing it.
Like I recognize it. The 381 ERA.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
like that. What you're not supposed to do, but then also I could throw Brad Keller in here if you want. Kind of like this is the point where you're not going to be comfortable holding on to these guys. So this is for the occasional stream and maybe for Chris Flexen, but we recognize we're the 381 ERA is so. I can go either way,
Yeah, I think he's good enough at contact suppression that he's going to be fine, but I think he's one of those guys where he's like a better real pitcher than someone who's going to provide you a lot of
Absolutely, yeah.
fantasy relevance.
Right, exactly.
Could be someone if you're looking for gather a bunch of innings that theoretically wouldn't kill you, but that's the problem. He's not going to contribute to any other categories.
He's not going to be a strikeout guy, so essentially you
never.
are trying to be a Toby, and I don't chase guys that are trying to be Tobys.
Yeah. Yes, that will be on your tombstone. That and that Zach Gallen piece is coming out next week.
No, I've already acknowledged that it isn't anymore.
I know, but
I
it
mean, I
cracks
still
me
have
up.
the draft inside of WordPress.
It makes me laugh all the time.
It's like, never mind. No, I'm not even going to say the horrible thing I was going to say, so let's move on.
Well, you want another person injured now, Nick?
Never!
Just like Rich Hill?
Oh, man, why did I say
Putting
anything?
your hexes
Why did I
on?
say anything at all?
Tier 13, Ryan Yarbrough, Alec Mills, Ryan Weathers, Martin Perez, Dallas Keuchel, Tyler Anderson, Marco Gonzalez, Mike Minor, and Colby Allard.
Which is the most interesting one to you here?
Either Mills, Weathers, or Allard.
Mills, Weathers, or Allard. Yeah, I can see that. The name of this tier is I had it in my head and it just went away. I'm gonna say it's oatmeal raisin.
Okay.
Because
think that might have
essentially,
been
like,
used
I mean, I
before.
understand there are people that are into it, which I understand some people are into these. But in general, it's like you see all the cookies laid out and the last ones left are oatmeal raisin.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I had a better one for like an ice cream that no one ever wants to have, and I forgot the name of it, so that's fine.
I think with Alec Mills, it's like there's one or two chocolate chips in there. You know what I mean? Because like in the offseason, he was someone who like at the back end, if he won the job.
He just had that start that was actually good.
Yeah,
finally. It
totally.
was like, oh boy. Alec
Yeah.
Mills, I think he won a King Cole in that start.
He might have
surprisingly.
had 9 Ks, 1 walk, 2 earned runs
Yeah.
over 5 2/3. He didn't get destroyed against the Dodgers. 2 earned runs over 4 innings with just 2 walks and 2 Ks. Yeah, the Ks haven't necessarily been there for him, but he also hasn't been hit super hard. We can't even really look at his ERA because a lot of it's been in relief as this kind of swingman.
I mean, I'm just going to say something really quickly. I'm surprised, Fast, you're not using our player pages, which tell you so much more for the game log. But that's
They
okay.
are-
You can do you.
They're right here at the top of the browser.
I'm just
There it
saying-
is from
I'm just saying,
Manoah
you
and
can just-
Stroman and
you
Ross.
can just click on the list and you get straight to it. It's pretty amazing.
It is. They are really fantastic.
That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, with Alec Mills,
Wow.
look, I'm happy that he's at 92 pitches, which is phenomenal. But the thing is, it was so hyper-reliant on four-seamer called strikes. 18 called strikes on that fastball in that game. That's a 36% rate, super high. It's not essentially when you want to look at start to start, what is the stickiest stuff? And you know this with called strikes are the longest to stabilize as opposed to swinging strike rate.
Yeah.
It's why it takes 10 starts for CSW to stabilize. It's not the swinging strike rate side, it's the called strike side.
Exactly.
So when I see someone have success and it's so reliant on those called strikes, I'm a little worried. 25 called strikes in this. That's 25%, not more so, called strike rate for the start.
You're also making the case then for a lot of Colby Allard distrust, as that was his recipe for success in his start
Exactly.
against Detroit, which is a lot of four-seamers for called strikes
Yeah,
and everything else.
not fun.
Not fun.
But hey, Colby Allard, I call him Drala because that's the backwards of Allard, and I feel like it's Alucard.
Nilbog!
What? Nilbog. Oh, yeah.
This gobbler spelled backwards!
Trolls too, but right. I mean, you know Castlevania. You understand that.
Yeah,
reference,
I
right?
get
So,
you.
it looks like Dracula to me.
That makes sense.
So I call him Drala. And Drala is just he's very boring, but at the same time, I understand he's had some success lately, and there's a chance they can keep up this stuff, but probably not. I tried to find an interesting one for you, and that's the best I got.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Listen, before we wap up, we're going to do the thing which we haven't been able to do in quite some time because of when we've been recording, which is talk about some of the starts that are happening right now.
Right now.
So I'm going to list some names. Don't look yet. I'm going to list some names.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me who of these people, they have all thrown at least 3 innings.
Oh.
Who is leading right now in terms of swinging strikes?
Okay.
Ian Anderson at Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Gonsolin at Miami. Pablo Lopez at the Dodgers, who has 5 strikeouts and no earned runs. Chad Kuhl.
boy, Pablo.
That's amazing. Chad Kuhl at Atlanta. Steven Matz, Baltimore, and Spencer Watkins against Toronto. Who is leading in terms of swinging strikes?
The answer I want it to be is Tony Gonsolin.
It is not.
No.
He is behind
What
one.
amazing content.
Exactly. Well, see you later. Right now, it is Chad Kuhl. With
I was
9.
so tempted to say Chad Kuhl, but I was like,
Chad
this
Kuhl.
isn't going to be right.
It's Chad Kuhl.
Oh, that's cool.
Ironically enough, though, Pablo Lopez 7, but a good amount of called strikes.
Sure. I mean, it's still good to have called strikes. It's just when it's so obviously shifted one way towards called strikes, it's a little bit worrisome.
Totally.
But
that's fun.
That's
it.
Good.
Let's see how the rest of that start goes against
Oh,
Atlanta.
yeah.
But yeah, that is it. That is going to do it for episode number 266 of On the Corner, the official PitcherList.com podcast. I'm your host, Alex Fast.
And I'm Nick Pollack. We'll talk to you guys next week.